I was on Discord the other day, though, Kev. I was going to tell you. And I was like, I didn't know how to use it, but I was like, it's crazy how lit your Discord is.
Oh, it's a vibe.
Oh, dude, I met my future wife on there.
That
laugh is I met my future wife.
All right, here we go.
Where's your headphones, Kev?
Oh no. Sorry to disappoint you, Jason.
Are you guys in LA?
Yeah, I am.
I'm in Phoenix right now.
Oh, cool.
I think I'm moving to. I'm moving to. I got friends out here, but I think I'm gonna be moving to Vegas like in August.
Are you kidding? Dude, I'm moving to Barcelona.
What?
Yeah,
Spain?
man. Spain, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Spain?
Yeah, man. Well, it's funny because when I started comedy, I was doing a lot of gigs in Europe and stuff, and the cost of living is way cheaper in Barcelona. And I got a lady that I'm crazy about that lives out there.
Oh,
Swedish girl that speaks Spanish, so I'm head over heels.
Yeah, man. No swearing on this. Not that you're a big swearer, Tamara.
Okay, cool. No, thank you for letting me know. That's good. That's good to know.
If you can, try not to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's easy. I had a mean dad. I know how to not cuss.
Yeah. Where's Kev? No people. I guess not as popular as we thought.
Shit.
I just put the link out, Jason.
Jason.
Let me see.
Jay, are you like in a corner? Like
me? Yeah.
Yeah, like jammed into.
I'm in the kitchen actually. This is where I'm staying. Like I'm staying with my friend at my friend Hillary's place. She's in San Diego, but she has like this mansion. She has like a putting green inside and outside the house. It's nuts.
Wow. I stayed out there one time with Allison Gill, and a scorpion was in her living room. I was like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm Egyptian. I like my desert better.
Yeah, dude, we had a tarantula the size of a catcher's mitt out in the front, right by the mat. There was a snake there the other day.
Oh man, I don't even care. I'll scream like a lady. I don't even care. Were you doing shows out there?
I did a couple of weeks ago. I did the House of Comedy, and then I had to go to Utah because my mom died. Thanks for bringing that up.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh. Thanks, Tamer. Way to bring the whole show down.
Dude, I'm used to stepping in it. I step in it all the time.
Man. All right, Jay, let's give him a couple more minutes and then we can get started.
I'm doing my first headlining weekend live in Sacramento on the 4th.
Laughs Unlimited?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't headlined that before?
No, I have. It's first post-quarantine.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. The House of Comedy here in Arizona, that was my first one back.
Cool.
And it was sold out, but it was sold out at, I think they only were allowing 25% capacity.
Yeah.
Oh, so wow. I can sell those out.
But I bet they wanted to laugh though, yeah?
Dude, that absolutely 100%. They the crowds were amazing. I didn't do any merch because I was just like, well, this is my first weekend back and I want to keep that social distancing thing. And but the crowds were so ready to laugh. Nobody had masks either.
You could have been like, my mom just died, buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's actually, my mom went to heaven and all I got was this lousy shirt.
Oh man, we're sorry.
All right, Jake, whenever you're ready, bro.
Don't ever cut me off, Kevin. All right.
I'll let you finish.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask the Show, where you get to ask questions of someone you may not interact with on a day-to-day basis. It's a place to grow, learn, understand, and educate for everyone. That's the glue. I'm one of your hosts, Big Irish Jay, and
And I'm Kevin on stage, and this is Ask a Coronavirus Survivor with Tamer. How do you pronounce your last name?
Catan.
Tamer Catan, who had that old slewfoot Rona. But before we start with you, Tamer, I want to thank the Patreon audience who's watching this live. Because of them, Jay and Tamer are compensated for being in this video. And you guys get to watch a preview of it, but they get to watch the whole thing live, and the rest is on Patreon. So shout out to them. Because of them, this is PBS for Blacks. Thanks to viewers like you, we have content like this. Okay, Tamer, you had that slewfoot Rona.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I had it, but you actually were tested and confirmed. And from what Jay tells me in his blueberry or Burberry baby shower shirt, he tells me that you actually had it pretty bad. So walk us through you being healthy and then finding out you had that Rona.
Sure. Well, listen, like if the coronavirus was a dartboard, I was living in the bullseye. Like I lived in Brooklyn, and I was taking the subway every day into the city, and especially working in the West Village on McDougal Street. You guys know those are all cellar comedy clubs, right? So those are all like basement, deep comedy clubs where they're like, don't touch this pipe because it's hot. You know what I mean? It was like deep underground, surrounded by people, tight clubs. And then also during the day, I was working at a famous boxing gym where I was wrapping people's hands, visiting from Europe and you know, so I was just swimming in it. And for me, it was a trip because, you know, you get this feeling when you get it where it feels like there's a foreign body inside you. The way you feel when you get food poisoning, you know? I just knew it. I knew I had it, and I was a little bit disturbed because I feel sick, but I'm upset about this corona thing because now I don't know whether it's corona or whether it's just food poisoning. And then right then I got the chills. And as soon as I had the chills, I'm like, that's it. And I had the chest tightness, but it was right when the hospitals were packed. So I knew I couldn't go anywhere. So I just got real calm. I started to meditate, you know, and for me, really, it was the first 2 days were rough. It felt like food poisoning. I had an upset stomach, diarrhea, all that stuff. But I stayed real calm. I stayed real cool. After the second day, it got 50% better, and then it continued to get 50% better for the next 6 days that it lingered. And then I had a feeling I had it, but not until my mom lives out in LA, and I was worried about her because she's a little bit older, and I wanted to make sure she had sort of a foundation set up to stay safe. So I flew out to LA, mask, everything, gloves, all that stuff. Got to LA, got an Airbnb, self-quarantined, set my mom up, and then I went to one of those drive-through testing facilities, and they did like a blood prick, 3.5 hours in line. Then they prick your finger. 15 minutes later, I got the result, and they said, yeah, absolutely, you have both antibodies, which means that I had it around the time that I suspected I had it.
When was this, Tamer?
End of February. So I'd say it was between February 15th to like the 20th, 22nd, something like that, in that week.
And do you, once you find out that you have it, or when you suspect that you have it, actually, well, you're still in New York, do you then start hitting everybody up, or do you know if anybody got it from you possibly, or who you got it from?
You know what? It's such a confusing thing because I was pretty sure that I probably got it from a comedy club. And to be honest, the majority of comics that I know that were working with me, they had it too. So
I think I had it, Tamer. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
I didn't get tested. Big Irish J doesn't believe me, but I have never been that sick in my life. I had the chills, which is something I never have. I was hot, I was cold, I had body aches. My doggone blood pressure was high. I couldn't taste food, and you know,
that's big.
You know that this food always tastes good, even when I'm really sick. But I didn't get tested because at that time, this was early February. I don't think it wasn't even really widespread yet as far as like the US, and there definitely wasn't any testing sites. I don't think in LA there wasn't testing sites till maybe late March, I believe. So my doctor didn't know what was going on. He was like, "Is your blood pressure like this?" And I was like, "I never had high blood pressure." And now it went down after that. Did you lose any weight or anything? Because I know that's a lot of symptoms people have.
You know, I think it was. I don't think I lost weight because of the coronavirus, but I think indirectly, yes. I think the coronavirus made me not eat. You know what I mean? Like I was stressed out a little bit. I just tried to stay real calm. You know what I mean? And when I stayed calm, I wasn't really in the mood to eat. I didn't notice the smell thing until a lot of times when I would read a symptom, then I would be like, wait, do I have that? And then I would realize it. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And that was a trip. Not smelling things was a trip. And to be honest, I think it kind of still affects my smell to this day. I don't think I smell as good as I don't think I smell as good as I used to.
Did you this two-part question. One, I've heard that they say when you have it, one of the worst things is laying down because of how your lungs are, and so they say you should lay on your stomach. Did you experience anything with that? And the second part, I know you're boxing, and have you noticed any like decrease in your lung capacity?
Well, here's the crazy thing. I'll tell you two things that I did because I'm a proactive person when it comes to stuff like this. I'm Egyptian. We have bad hospitals in Egypt, so we've always been a home remedy family. You know what I mean? Not like anti-Western medicine. We're all about the doctors when we can get in. But in places like Egypt, the emergency rooms and the waiting rooms are more dangerous than the thing that you get a lot of times. So I did two things real quick. And I'll tell you one thing about me before this happened is I started snowboarding because there was a period in my life where I had a lot of white friends. So they took me snowboarding all the time. And I'm not meant to be up in that altitude. And I got altitude sickness really bad a few years ago. Like where my lungs started filling up with water. It was a condition called high altitude pulmonary edema. And when I'd lay down, there was water in my lungs. So when I'd lay down, I felt like I couldn't breathe because the water would fill up and clog my lungs. And then when I'd sit up, I could breathe. So I was worried about that. But I took there's these pills that I found on Amazon for people. Once you quit smoking, there's these pills that are really popular. They're herbal pills that help clean out your lungs. So I took those pills right away. And then there was a breathing device, an oxygen trainer that boxers use that was invented by Bas Rutten, where he hurt his knee. He couldn't keep training for his fight, but he needed to keep his cardio up. So he put this trainer in his mouth where the hole would get smaller and smaller and smaller. You'd inhale real deep and exhale real hard and do these reps. And that's what I was doing every day. And actually, because of those exercises, I think my lung capacity increased during
That's
Yo,
I know.
Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, our buddy, Michael Yo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know he got it, right?
No,
I didn't know.
He not only got it, he said he was on Rogan talking about it, but he said he thought he was literally going to die. And he said on Rogan there was points where, and he was talking about, he went to the hospital and he was saying, like he broke down in tears. He was saying, those people that are in there that have it, they got nobody because your family can't come visit you or anything. And he just was thinking, I may die in here. But one of the things he was talking about with the air thing, like he couldn't breathe, and the doctor, he was asking if he should go on the ventilator, and the doctor told him straight up, "You'll probably die if I put you on the ventilator," because the ventilator, I guess, and I've been seeing more and more stuff about it, is it's not good. Like it's people that go on the ventilator. I think the rate of fatality of going on the ventilator is like 60 or 70%. It's something crazy. So I was going to ask you, it sounds like, but you didn't go into the hospital. So you just kind of trained
I didn't go in the
lungs.
hospital, but I'm experienced with ventilators. I've been on ventilators before. When I had that high altitude pulmonary edema condition, they actually had to drain my lungs up in altitude. They were going to helicopter me off the mountain, but some kid overdosed on drugs. So they took him out on the helicopter and they rode me down in an ambulance.
More white kids.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
This story gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah, but it is, you know what? I think that's part of the psychology of this virus that makes it so scary. The thought of not being able to breathe, that is like some horror movie. Like if this virus was a person, it would be Jason. You know what I mean? Like it's scary to feel like you can't breathe. It's scary to feel like you're isolated. That's when we need each other most, when we're most afraid, and to feel like nobody can be with you and you can't breathe. Those are the two of the scariest feelings on earth when we are pack animals. We're designed to be together, especially when we're in pain. So I feel for him going through that experience. It's a scary thing. I think we all have a little bit of PTSD right now.
Oh, I do.
Black. We definitely have it. Thanks to people like Jay and his whole family.
Post-traumatic slave disorder.
No,
there's that's
a real thing. I just talked about this on Twitter, and there was a real term. I can't think of it right now.
I'll send you. There's a lady that I'll send you the thing after this thing. That speaks on it.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, you go.
No, I think the one thing I didn't have was I don't think I had trouble breathing, but I wasn't doing anything really intense, so I can't really tell. I was like, and also it was a long time. Like usually when I'm sick, I drink some orange juice, go crazy with NyQuil or whatever. And like the doctor had me on steroids. It was like everything, man. It was, and I could not shake it. I feel like I had some sort of sickness for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was pretty tough. Do you feel any differences in your life now? Because what I've been hearing a lot is like even when people feel better, their life is not the same. Do you have anything like that?
It's funny. I think mentally, I believe in my psych. I believe in the power of positive thinking more than I ever have before. And I think, my grandfather used to say history may not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. And I think he's right. Like we may not do the same thing that we've done in the past, but we're doing similar things because people are people.
Right.
And we did have this thing happen before. We had it happen in 1918. And what happened after? The Roaring 20s. Boy, did those people appreciate life.
I didn't think about that. I never connected the two to that. They was out here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think that's a real thing. I think that we could look at that and just like a farmer's almanac, be able to say, hey, it may not be June 22nd, 2020, but in June 22nd, 1989, the weather was exactly like this. And I think that's going to happen to us. I think we're going to have a little bit of PTSD on our way out, but I think some real appreciation for life is coming. I think I am.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say one last thing is I work out harder. I do more cardio. I've always been focused on my outside because I'm a vain idiot. You know what I mean? But not anymore. I care about my lungs now. I stopped smoking weed. I might do an edible here, an edible there, but I don't smoke weed the way I used to. I used to smoke every day. I don't smoke
weed.
Yeah, man.
I'm kind of doing the same. I'm eating more. I'm drinking more. I just want to comment some people about the ventilator thing. I saw Reggie and my good buddy rival Reggie Lee was in there, but so about the ventilator, Michael Yo was saying that his doctor told him he wasn't putting him on the ventilator because what happens is when you go on the ventilator is we're doing the work for you to breathe. And so it's like your lungs atrophy because they don't have to do the work. The ventilator's doing it. And that's why a lot of people are dying is because their lungs aren't getting the work. And then they also, I don't know if there's a way that we can put like a clip on this once it gets done. But I just saw a video of this lady. She's a nurse at like the Epicenter Hospital in New York. And she's an Iraq veteran. And she was talking about, she showed it. She like became an investigative journalist. People are coming in. There's like a guy that was tested twice negative for corona, but at the top they put that he had the coronavirus and just immediately put him on the ventilator because they're getting money for this. And people are just dying and they're just kind of just saying, yeah, they got the corona, put him on the ventilator. And it's insane what this video was showing in the hospitals in New York.
Yeah, you know what? You got to be careful with statistics too, though. Because I mean, think about it. The only people on the ventilators are the people who are the most severe. So you look at the ventilator, you go, oh, well, ventilator kills people. Is it that the ventilator kills people, or is it the people that are closest to death are the ones who go on? You know what I'm saying?
Well, like this lady, lady was saying that people are coming in that they aren't necessarily that bad. They just diagnose them as, oh yeah, they got the corona, even if they don't. Like they'll show the test when they didn't, and then they put them on the ventilator. Where are you going, Kevin? You in your shorts?
Jay keeps saying the corona. It's so funny to me. That's
the Rona.
They got that Rona now. I don't mess with nobody got that Rona. You stay far away from me. You got that Rona.
You couldn't put pants on, Kev, for this?
I don't put pants on pretty much at all. Can I move my screen?
Me too, man. I'm walking around like Donald Duck.
I'm not. Listen, I don't wear undershirts anymore. It's a whole thing. I've been changed forever, Jay. I'm different now.
Yeah, man. It's a crazy thing. I'll tell you one thing that came out that's kind of interesting. I actually feel guilty sometimes for not having such severe symptoms. It's almost like people get disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know this girl who went to lunch with Harvey Weinstein, but nothing happened. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like sometimes. But
Josh, take that joke out. Josh, take that joke out.
Yeah.
Take it out, Josh. I don't even want to. I'm sorry, Trevor. I don't know how your audience is. Go for it. Josh, take it out. Take it out, Josh.
Damn, are you trying to get us canceled?
You know what I think, Tamara, but to that point, though, I don't think it's like if you have pneumonia, those symptoms are very specific. Yeah. If you have this thing, those symptoms, I think with coronavirus, everybody's experience is not the same. And I think that's why, especially prior to the big thing, I feel like doctors, like when I went to the doctor, he was like, I don't understand this. This is not like, like I had to go back. He was like, these symptoms don't go with each other. Like if you have the flu, you have these symptoms, but that's not usually associated with high blood pressure. So he was kind of like, okay, well, try this and try that. And I also had a really bad cough, which a lot of people aren't associated with. And that was the thing that was hardest to beat, So, and then the other thing that kind of makes coronavirus a little different, right? I feel like because it's not something that we as a society are used to. It's not like war. It's not like a natural disaster.
Yeah.
People don't know exactly what to do, and that's a weird space to be in. So the CDC has changed guidelines a lot. It was like, at first it was like, don't wear a mask if you're not sick. Then it was like, everybody wear a mask. And then it was like, you can't pass it if you're asymptomatic, and then you can pass it if you're asymptomatic. And then DL Hughley, I don't know if you guys saw this over the weekend. He passed out at a show in Nashville, and then they ran the gamut of tests, and it turned out he had it. So he didn't feel anything until he passed out. So I feel like because it's so, new, I think that's why they call it the novel virus.
Sure.
It doesn't fit neatly into a box. And then on top of that, if you have other stuff going on, like say you already have high blood pressure or whatever, then it's even more dangerous. So
100%. I think that's a critical point right there.
Yeah.
I feel like if you think of this like a virus, it's really confusing. But if you think about it like a drug, it starts to make sense. Not everybody like viruses in the past, they have symptoms that are similar for every human being.
Okay.
But with drugs, depending on your state of mind, it might affect you different. One drug, right?
Like some people say I had an edible and it was like nothing happened.
I had a bad trip.
That's right.
I've had friends who've taken the same dose of like one edible, at my old job, and one had a weird trip and one didn't feel,
right.
at all.
That's right. So it makes me think your state of psychology affects how your body responds to certain drugs. If you're in a happy place when you smoke weed, if you're in a happy place when you do mushrooms, you have a happy experience. If you're in a stressed out, anxious place, you have a bad experience. And I think maybe there's a parallel there. Maybe it's not about your psychology. Maybe it's about your physicality, your physiology. That if you're taking care of yourself, you might have a better experience. If you're not, you might have a worse. But there's definitely some genetics too, because there's that one family in New Jersey where 7 people in one family died.
Wow,
it's crazy.
I didn't even hear that. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, this could be for both of you. First, Kev, did you ever get tested to find out if you have the antibodies?
No, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, that'll tell you if you had it or not.
The blood, that's the easier one, actually. It's good that you feel like you already had it because they could give you the blood one and it's easy. They're not shoving anything up your nose. It only takes 15 minutes.
Looks crazy, man. They look like they had to scrape your brain.
Right?
Yeah. Up there. And I already have a big nose. I feel like they can go farther. They're going to poke my eye out through my nose, man. That thing is big.
They touch part of your brain. You're like, I smell my first girlfriend's hair.
Oh, I'm glad you said hair. I didn't know where you were going. No, this was my question. Then, if you haven't had the test, then then forget you, Kev. Tamara, do you feel like, knowing that you've had it and you've been through it? Because I have like almost like a little bit of anxiety of like, have I had it? It's almost like I wish I have had it, or I want to know, so then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just like anything else. There's a reason why the movies are never as good as the book, because the monster in our mind is always more scary than the monster even Spielberg can make up. And I think that's what happens.
I've never heard it put like that.
Right? Yeah.
You can add your own mind is way more imaginative than like seeing it.
Yeah. Spielberg's got nothing on what happens up here. Nothing.
You know what's crazy, Tamara? What you just said that, like, since I didn't know, like, luckily, you know what's crazy? I just started in my life when I get sick canceling shows and like not doing anything. Yeah. So luckily for me, when I felt sick, I canceled. I had podcasts. I had a stand-up show. This was the first time in my life I was ever so sick that I had to cancel a stand-up comedy show, right? And it was for a friend of mine. Yeah. I never do that. But I think it might have been a different experience if I knew I had it. Like, I probably would have been way more dramatic. I'm dramatic anyway when I'm sick. But I mean, if I knew for sure that I had coronavirus, I would have definitely. And then my wife, like, I ended up just basically staying in my room for like 3 days. Yeah. Not shooting anything or anything like that. But I know, like, to your point about how your mind approaches things, I definitely would have been like, I have the virus, please. That's right. Yeah. Cover me in a suit. Don't speak to me. I would have probably went to a hotel. Like, there's no telling how much more dramatic I would have been. Yeah. Just because I knew how serious it is.
Yeah. Hey, especially as comics, I think we're trained. Hemingway used to say it's our job as writers to notice what others only see, right? Like, people might look at something and look away, but as a comic, you're trained for your mind to concentrate on something and dig into it deeper and deeper and deeper. So I think when we get stressed out, when we get anxious, we go deeper than most people.
Yeah,
so it's important for us to have control over our mentality and put a steering wheel on the car that drives our creativity. Like, I think you're 100% right, man. I think like being able to stay calm is probably what got you through it in a smoother way than you would have if you had all the paranoia that was coming from all the stories we've been hearing.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about this? There's still people. There's people who believe the whole thing is a hoax and no one has had it and no one has died from it. And it's like, come on, guys. I mean, like, obviously the media plays up the media, and this is kind of like crazy to think of. We live in a capitalist society, right? So money, clicks, views, that matters in everything. That's why bad news is the lead, because everybody wants to hear, oh, Big Irish Jay, he helped the old lady across the street. You want to hear that Big Irish Jay wore a Burberry baby shower shirt to Asuka. That's more clicks. So, even if the number of reported cases is never reported with the recovery. It's only the part that makes you feel scared, not the part that makes you feel like, we're turning a leaf. And honestly, I get it. Like, I do get, that you have to, be honest about the negative part. But it's kind of like, it's hard to tell what stats are true, because you've heard that doctors they're adding it, even if it wasn't the primary reason somebody died, if you already had, whatever, and then you have it, they're like, okay, that's why you had it. So it makes people be like, well, nothing's true. You know what I mean?
You're right.
I think it's a combination of everything. It's not all one. It's not all bad. It's definitely not all good. The truth is kind of somewhere in the middle, but it might not be as exciting as the negative aspects of it.
100% right. I think the news needs to come with a warning label, right? Like, even on your side view mirror, it says objects may be closer than they appear. Yeah. I think the news needs to say objects may seem more negative than real life. Right? They're psychologically exhausting us, because they do have to focus on the negativity, but they need to give us a heads up, because I think in America, we are more stressed out than any other country in the world. I love this country. I worked real hard to get here. This accent, I got this from a bunch of ass beatings. You know what I mean? I used to have a crazy. I was as foreign as a foreigner could be. I love this country because I earned being here. But I don't like the way that the companies, the politicians, and the system abuses us psychologically.
Well, the one good thing is, luckily, we have such a great leader in our president. What a dope!
Oh my God. It's heartbreaking, bro. It's heartbreaking, especially.
I feel like minorities. Sorry, Jay, we're gonna leave you out of this. Immigrants and Black people, we love America more because it's harsher on us.
That's right.
Than it is. So, and just because you love something doesn't mean you can't critique it. You know, I love The Dark Knight, but it has its issues. I love The Five Bloods by Spike Lee. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was entirely too long. You know what I mean? Like, I love ice cream, but it destroys my stomach. You
love lotion, but you didn't put any on your legs today. We get it.
I never do, and I never will. If they're not going to be seen, it's a whole thing. You see, it's where I draw the line. Really. I haven't put lotion on my legs in months.
Oh man. Do you want to get any of the questions?
Yeah, guys, go ahead and throw your questions in. We want to make you guys feel included.
I love what you said, Kev. I feel like America. If America was a judge on American Idol, for white people it would be Paula Abdul, and for people of color it'd be what's his name, Simon Cowell.
That's hilarious.
That is such a freaking great analogy. I wish you didn't stumble over it.
Thank you.
It is so perfect. That is so great. Yes, I'm gonna go get tested. I didn't know that you could get tested for antibodies.
Yeah.
So I will find out how to do that and go. Yes.
I like those glasses, Missy P.
Yeah, Missy P is.
People like your glasses, Tamer. People have been commenting on.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
How were you? Somebody said, "How were you cured?" I don't think you get cured. It runs its course, right?
Yeah, it runs its course. It runs its course. That's a great question. You know what? I was on my own, and that was the scary part. But I think it's part of the superpower. Sometimes I was a latchkey kid, and my
time, right?
Yeah, man. I was a latchkey kid, and both my parents worked 2 jobs when we first got to this country. So I used to wake up alone and pack my own lunch, and I'd come home alone. And sometimes I'd be in bed before my mom would come kiss me on the forehead. So
dang, you was out here with the big struggle.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Your parents are like, "Oh yeah, he be in there sometimes."
Yeah, man. But I think human beings are like, sorry, what?
Did you cry when you were alone?
You know what? I'm not ashamed to say it. There were times where I was so lonely that I cried, but if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have found comedy. So I'm cool with it.
No, I mean when you had Corona, not just.
No, I stayed real positive.
Tamer's like, "Hey, how much time we got? I got some things I need to work out."
I cried this morning, y'all. I've been feeling my feelings so much. I cried 2 days in a row. What's the whole thing? I'm like, man.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong being sensitive.
He asked earlier. He worked at a boxing company, taping people's hands before they put on their.
Yeah, but you know what? I think if you were to ask me specifically how I got it, I think I used to have a bad habit of rubbing my eyes.
I literally just did that as you were saying that.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a physician who way before this told me, he's like, you know what? If you just get in the habit of using your shirt like this, when you wipe your eyes, instead of using your fingers, that you'll get sick way less often. He told me that probably 10 years ago. And ever since then, I've made a habit. And that's what it is. I think there's a lot of habits that we need to break. I think a handshake has got to change. I think we got to stop blowing out candles on birthday cakes. You know what I mean? We got to create some new habits.
We do. I've been doing this.
Yeah.
My fans, I'll tell you right now, one of the worst parts of the job is the handshake portion of the meet and greet.
Yeah.
I don't mind meeting people, but even when I had just told people in the club, like I was just getting over I just thought I had a bad cold. They're like, "Man, I still want to shake your hand." I'm like, "Bro, I just told you I'm sick. I don't I made an announcement and everything." They're like, "No, man," and I'm just looking at their hand like,
They just spit in their hand.
Man. You know what's crazy though? Part of it is you do need the human body, is always coming in contact with germs and stuff. So there's a certain amount of that your body needs to remain vigilant against viruses. Do you think us, moving forward, not touching many things will be make our immune system weaker?
That's a great point. I think my mom used to always say we're lucky we come from Egypt because we have a stronger immune system than most people. And at first I thought that was just a little joke that we had amongst people from Cairo. But then one time we were in India for a friend's wedding, and I was there with a bunch of friends from America. We all ate the exact same food, and the next day everybody was sick, and I was out on the beach going, "Come on!" Like, I think there's some truth to that. I think human beings are a little bit like cactuses. Like sometimes the harsher we treat ourselves, the stronger we grow, and if you overwater us, we get too soft. So I think you got to find a balance. I think there's enough viruses out there where if you just go out in the air, just breathe regular life, you're going to get exposed to it anyway. You know what I mean? It's like cutting out salt and being afraid of not having enough salt in your diet. You don't need to worry about that. As long as you cut out adding salt, you'll be fine. And I think that's what it is with viruses. As long as you worry about keeping out the extra stuff, we'll be exposed enough to stay strong, I think.
Okay, I was going to say, so do you believe that we should be doing like the self quarantining and or the other one of the theories is you let the herd thing happen where a certain amount. Yeah, thank you. So which side do you think we should fall on, Tamer?
I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I will tell you that when you go, we are individuals, and I think medically doctors know that you have to treat people on a case-by-case basis. But when you deal with public health, you have to create these generalities. And I think sometimes that hurts people that are on the fringes, whether it's people that are more sick than the average person, whether it's people that are more socioeconomically threatened than the average person. Yeah. I think what this does is we need to create more equality in our public health, in our institutions. There's a real lack of equality. This is a disease that rich people brought into this country. Let's be honest. Poor people aren't flying all around the world. Rich people are, and I think rich people need to take a responsibility for this and make sure that we have some equality for all of us.
People take responsibility.
But no, yeah, I don't think herd immunity is fair. I don't think that's the fair way to go.
I think what's going to happen, I think this is pretty obvious. America is going to reopen. It is reopening. I highly doubt, barring like catastrophic numbers, I highly doubt we will see any sort of quarantine like we had, March through May. People, there's so many, like you really see people, it's kind of not funny, but I guess ludicrous is a better word. I saw a video of dude fighting to get into a grocery store without a mask, and the workers fighting him back. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, it's my right. Like,
it's all white people. It is all white people.
Yeah, man.
Oh. I've seen so many tweets of people like coronavirus ain't real, it ain't real, and then later on getting it. Like, profusely. Like, I'm not gonna wear a mask, and it's like, bro, do you realize like the American natural disposition is whatever you tell me to do, I'm not going to do it. Like,
that's right.
So the analogy of like, you realize this is probably what happened when they decided to put seatbelts in cars and make it a law. People were like, no, if I want to die, if I want to go through the freaking windshield, then I'll go through the windshield. Like, people just don't want to be told what to do, even if it is what is good for you and good for the overall group.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. It's crazy, that mentality. I think life got messed up in America when Burger King said you could have it your way. Like, that's what happened. We used to be a society that said this is the way that it is, and you either accept it or you make the changes, right? Like my friend said, the internet was at its best when it was used for information, and at its worst when it was used for affirmation. It's at its best when we look for the truth. It's at its worst when we look for our version of the truth.
Tim, you got to put together a book of quotes.
the analogy king, man.
Man, well, that's the best thing about comedy is you get to meet great people. You get to meet great people who have the freedom away from regular jobs and regular bosses to think about ourselves and think about protecting our brothers and sisters. And so with that freedom, I think comes a responsibility to listen to smart people and digest what they have to say. But I think that's true. I think people have attached their identity. They've treated politics like sports, and it's not sports, man. The only us and them is us versus the people in power, not your neighbor.
Yeah, man.
People are like, Tammer for president. Tammer for president,
man. I like him, man.
Yeah,
He's
man.
He's good at analogies. I can understand it.
I only bring the best, Kev. I only bring the best.
I was just gonna say it's so crazy. Me and Jay do comedy, but I literally know 4 people, and Jay knows 8,000 comics who have all these stories. I realize
everybody knows you, Kev. Everybody knows you.
I think it's
a great
Jay
comment.
there. Thank you, Tammer. Jay was out there doing the stuff, and my wife said I couldn't go outside, so I had to make internet videos. And I all my private shows, and then I went on tour. I didn't have the stand in the green room experience, and now I'm like, Jay has way more friends than me. I don't have nobody. He knows somebody who got coronavirus. He knows Tiger King. He knows somebody who knows Burberry in plus size. He knows everybody.
Jay's your canary in a comedy club.
Oh man. Oh, Kev. Let me see. We have any other questions on here? I'm just trying to look through these.
I don't see that many, Jay, but I really enjoyed this, Tammer. I ain't gonna hold you. Like this
Thank
was,
you, brother.
I was resistant.
This is real nice.
But I'm trying to let Jay be the producer of the show. But this was actually very informative, and I appreciate it. Like I appreciate your openness and your analogies. I appreciate everything.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And hey, I miss people, and I miss my friends. I didn't realize how much I miss my comedian friends. So many of the times we compete against each other so much when we first start in this business that we don't fully appreciate each other. And I think after being in this business for a while, right? And then you stop and realize these are
all of us, like just like music.
Yeah, man. We share dreams. We share the same dream. Why would we compete?
What are you doing later, man? Forget you, Jay. Tammer's my
All right, can I just say one thing to Kat James' comment? That was Kev's guest.
Oh God, shut up, Jay. He's dirty.
My record is still strong.
Tammer, what's your social media in case people want to follow you?
Absolutely. My Instagram is the best. It's @TammerKat, and it's spelled TAMERKAT. And then everything else is @TammerKatan. TAMERKATTAN.
So this is your Instagram, right?
Thank you, brother. That's right.
Somebody said Chin did. Hold on, sorry.
A friend who was a foreign exchange student. He was my next door neighbor, and his name was Tammer, and he was super dope, and he was Egyptian as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gave me an Xbox.
Oh, right on. That's good. That's nice to hear. I love hearing.
Kev, are you doing nice I have an Egyptian friend. Ugh, yuck. Anyways, Chin has a great.
You know what's funny though?
Jay, you are the worst, man.
Hey, dude, I like that. It's better than all these people coming. Oh, I've been to Egypt. They offered 2 goats and a camel for my daughter, and I'm like, man, shut up! Like, no, we're not all trying to buy your daughter.
I was
so
just
that's a better. They
had the same name. All right, here we go, Tammer. Here's the last question for you. Did Tammer have any family or friend group?
Oh, he's frozen.
I was like, what?
And how dare you, Diana?
There you go. Okay.
Oh, there he's back.
You mean like skeptics that thought this thing was a hoax?
Or thought you didn't really have it? Or any of that?
Yeah. It's funny. Most of them were in my comedy family, to be honest. And I got to be honest, I lost some friends over it.
Really?
And I try not. Yeah, I really did. Because I didn't, I think sometimes the competitiveness of this business makes people they start behaving like news networks. Like, I know some of these people. I know who they are in real life. I know who they are as human beings. And while some of them might have believed that, some of them did it just to get views. Some of them did it just to spur conversations, just to poke people with a stick. And that upset me. And I'm like, I don't need that kind of energy. You don't have to just Marie Kondo things that don't give you joy. You can Marie Kondo people that don't give you joy too.
Yo, Tammer, in my life over the last 3 to 5 years, I have come to grips with that more than I probably would have liked. I for whatever reason, I thought, because I have some friends for so long, like I have a friend like Jay for, I don't know, maybe almost 10 years now. I've known Jay close to 10 years. You think everything is like that, and there's friends, like my friend Ann from the Playmakers. I used to spend the night at his house every weekend for years, like almost 2 years. But then life just takes you different ways, and it's not always a negative thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. Sometimes life's changing. I don't know. There's a lightning strike on this right now. But anyway, Tamara, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, brother. Thank you so much for having me. Jay, it's so good to see your face too.
Love you, brother. Stay safe,
too,
and I'll hit you up later. I want to hear about Barcelona.
That'd be great, man. Maybe let's go to lunch or something when I come to LA.
Let me tell you guys, Tamara is not single. He is moving to Barcelona to be with a woman. I'm sorry, Diana. I'm sure Tamara seems like a great guy, but he's madly in love with a Swedish woman in Barcelona, so he is taken. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. All right, appreciate you guys.
Thank you, brother. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Audience, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right.